Welcome back to Quick Bits. This week was unhinged, and there's a lot to talk about, from updates in the Bryan Kohberger prosecution to the Idaho Defamation case, big updates in the Tati Westbrook case as it's getting ready to go to trial, and this whole Ticketmaster Swiftie situation is wild, but not as wild as the judge that was texting over 500 times during a murder trial in Oklahoma. Oh, we talked about it all this week. Let's get into it. I'm legal analyst Emily D. Baker. This is the Quick Bits, where I break down just the main points of the pop culture and entertainment cases I'm currently covering on YouTube and the Emily Show podcast. Let's get into it. Let's go to Idaho first. In the Idaho Defamation case, which is a university professor has sued a TikTok creator for defamation because the TikToker said that this university professor is the one that orchestrated the murder of the 4 victims in the Idaho University murders that Bryan Kohberger has been charged and is being prosecuted for. The police actually put out a statement to discredit this theory, and this is going through the federal court system. The TikToker is representing themselves. What recently happened in court was that the TikToker failed to respond to requests for admissions, interrogatories, and discovery. And when those deadlines passed, the things that the TikToker did not respond to are deemed admitted. So the professor filed a motion for summary judgment. This motion could end the liability part of the defamation case, meaning it would be determined by the court that the TikToker legally defamed the professor, and then the only matter left for a jury would be damages. So resolve the issue of defamation and liability and just leave it for damages. It's a very interesting case. We'll see if the TikToker responds to the motion for summary judgment. Talking Bryan Kohberger, there was a court hearing on October 26th. That hearing was partly sealed and partly public. It was dealing with the grand jury indictment. You'll remember that the defense has been arguing that the grand jury indictment was determined under the wrong standard of law. They say it should be beyond a reasonable doubt, not probable cause. That the way that the jury was picked was outside of what is provided for by law, and that the entire indictment should be thrown out. The court denied that motion. Judge making the ruling at the hearing instead of taking it under submission. Judge also indicated that cameras would be allowed in the courtroom for now, but he would be taking more control of them. Those are the big updates in Idaho. Hopefully we'll see some more dates and we'll get a feel for when they are thinking trial will go forward later in 2024, I suspect. Let's talk about the Swifties having some bad blood with Ticketmaster. There are multiple lawsuits going on where groups of individuals seeking to become class actions are suing Ticketmaster over the disastrous sale of Taylor Swift tickets. But those are not the only Ticketmaster lawsuits. And one of the lawsuits in California that seems to be controlling how things are going at the moment is a monopoly lawsuit not related to the Swifties brought before that. But in that lawsuit, we learned that Ticketmaster is trying to change their arbitration provisions and the way that they force unhappy ticket buyers to deal with their cases. And some of the changes made seem shady. But instead of forcing the parties into arbitration out of the trial court process, where it goes and is dealt with privately in a binding way, Judge Wu denied Ticketmaster's motion to compel arbitration, finding that Ticketmaster's new arbitration provision was essentially so draconian that it could not be forced on the parties. That is up on appeal, and it has paused all of the other litigation because, well, Ticketmaster is trying to drive everyone into arbitration. That's why. Almost as wild as Ticketmaster is this judge in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma disciplinary action against a judge that was only seated to office in January of 2023 is one of the wildest abuses of power on the bench that I have seen. It is a bizarre twist and turn of really abhorrent behavior from the bench, from texting with the bailiff over 500 times to make fun of attorneys during a jury trial for a murdered child, to taking photographs of male attorneys where they felt that they could not say no and then posting those up in chambers, to lying to the Judicial Inquiry Commission, and more. That's at the second part of Thursday's episode. I was blown away by the allegations made here because the appalling nature of what this judge was doing on the bench is staggering. It's wild. So do I think this judge will be removed from office? Yes. Have disbarment proceedings started against this judge yet? Not that I've seen, but I'm keeping my eye out. And finally, some Tati Westbrook updates. Tati Westbrook is still undergoing the lawsuits with her business partner. There are 4 or 5 lawsuits all consolidated together in Nevada that are scheduled to go to trial in February of 2023. Because that's getting close to trial, they have been doing depositions. The business partner has now a new attorney for like the 3rd or 4th time in this series of litigation that's been ongoing since 2020 when the business partner sued her, starting with, "This is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed." I really hope that's Tati's opening argument when this goes to trial. But this lawsuit is still winding its way through the courts in discovery, which means depositions are ongoing. And Tati Westbrook's attorneys have argued that the business partner was essentially stonewalling during their deposition by being willfully extreporous and not answering questions. And in an unusual move, the court granted an additional 7 hours of depositions for the business partner. So even in these discovery phases of litigation, it's getting contentious. It was a busy week. Everything on the long form videos is timestamped. So if you see a topic that you really like, you can hop over and catch up. The judge reading is not quick. I went through all 47 pages of that disciplinary action. So if you need a bit of a laugh or you just want to be angry, well, everything I covered this week. We'll do both of those things. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a learner. And I will see you in the next one. For deep dives into the stories that I covered here, you can find them on my YouTube channel at The Emily D. Baker and The Emily Show podcast. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast goes live on Wednesdays. And if you want to stay in the loop with everything I'm doing, receive the fastest notifications out there, and get more Law Nerd community, join me at lawnerdapp.com, our free app for iOS and Android.